I have visited so many abandoned places in my life, but this is the one that most deeply disturbed me. And that's why this time, beyond the history of the place, I want to tell you how I got here. My partner had a work commitment in Messina, and I had some free time, so I decided to go with him. I went out early in the morning, initially intending to visit another castle, Fort Gonzaga, which, at least as stated on the internet, was open to the public. After walking for a long time and climbing hundreds of steps, however, I found it closed. I was very disappointed, and looking on the web for some other destinations, I came across Fort Castellaccio. Following the directions on Google Maps, I reached a residential area, but there was no trace of the castle. I was almost about to give up when, among the weeds, I noticed a paved path. I started following it. It went up a high hill, and the further I went, the wider it got. I walked a long way up this lonely, uphill road when I finally saw some fortifications at the top. It's not easy to get here. You need to pay close attention to the steep terrain, but the effort is definitely worth it. What I found in front of me was a massive 16th century fortification, abandoned for who knows how long. Following the walls, you can easily find an entrance. How disturbing this place is can be understood immediately from the first rooms you encounter. Here is what looks like a strange oven with hundreds of bones scattered on the ground. It is clear that they belong to animals, which, however, does not make the sight any less horrible. Despite the not exactly encouraging start, I continued until I found myself in a square with a breathtaking view of the city of the Strait. Right in front, there was a staircase and an iron gate. It was open, so I went in. Knowing how many real risks I run every day in my work as a journalist, I am certainly not afraid of an empty and uninhabited place. But when I go out for shoots, I'm never alone, as I was during my visit to Castellaccio. Since it wasn't my first choice that day, I knew almost nothing about the fort, which I only later discovered was the oldest castle in the city. I stayed inside for about an hour. I shot almost all of it. Almost, because in some rooms, my self-preservation instinct advised me not to set foot. I'm not sure what I was afraid of. Just an uncanny feeling of being watched, and worse, followed. Sensation that accompanied me until the exit, and then on the path for a long time. When I returned to the hotel, I looked for information on the place I had just visited, and the anxiety only got worse. Built in 1547 on ancient pre-Hellenic walls, it is today completely forgotten, even by the inhabitants of Messina. Perhaps because it is believed to be haunted by ghosts. Ancient stories speak of torture and murder that took place in the basement of the castle when it was a prison. Over the years, the enormous building has undergone several renovations until it was transformed into an orphanage. Many witnesses claim that moans and cries of children arise every night from inside. I didn't hear anything strange, apart from noises most likely produced by the wind. Yet I cannot help but admit that I felt a strange atmosphere, as if I perceived that I was not a welcome guest. Later, through some friends, I managed to contact the map group, who dedicated many paranormal investigations to Castellaccio, even spending the night inside. This is what they found. These are strange growls and noises that were recorded by their instruments, and that initially no one had heard. They only came to light once the recordings were analyzed. But there's more.
Possiamo sentire la voce.
This time, everyone present heard the strange gurgling noise. The most disturbing thing, however, is a photo taken with the phone of one of the group, which initially did not seem to highlight anything in particular. Yet, look carefully at the corner on the right, next to the column. That shadow, by all accounts, wasn't there, and it remains inexplicable to this day.